so excited, I want to give every American $1,000 a month.
How do we pay for it? Raise your hand in the crowd if you've seen stores closing where you live. It is not just you. Amazon is closing 30% of America's stores and malls and paying zero in taxes while doing it. We need to do the opposite of much of what we're doing right now, and the opposite of Donald Trump is an Asian man who likes math. So Americans are smarter than we often give them credit for. My slogan, well, that the opposite of Donald Trump is an Asian man who likes math. Math is actually an acronym for Make America Think Harder. We have to put our confidence in the American people that we can solve the real problems of the 21st century.
Here we go. Hi.
Hi, Senator Warren. Thank you so much for this.
What's your name? David? David 50.
Okay, David 50.
Yeah.
It's nice to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you as well.
Thank you.
I'm a PhD candidate.
Woohoo!
And teaching assistant here in the mathematics department at
Whoa,
UNH.
math! Wow.
I was really
okay.
excited to hear that you loved math. So.
I do. Wow. Math. Wow. Wow. Math. I do. In fact, I want you to do this. Go to my website, look at our plans, and add up the math. It actually adds up. It's amazing. I had a math teacher come up to me in Milwaukee and say, I just want you to know I went to your website, checked out all your numbers. They checked out. So, good. Okay.
We've had 3 years now of Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell. And it was exactly 3 years ago tonight that Mitch McConnell tried to pitch me off the Senate floor for reading a statement from Coretta Scott King to try to stop a racist from being nominated to be Attorney General of the United States. And that's when Mitch McConnell said the words that women have put on T-shirts, have embroidered on pillows, and have had tattooed on their bodies. Nevertheless, she persisted.
There are a lot of people
right now, there are a lot of folks around the country who are really worried that this race against Donald Trump may be unwinnable. I've been fighting fights that are unwinnable pretty much all of my life. Fighting to get a federal agency to protect consumers. Fighting to get the CEO of Wells Fargo held accountable. And by the way, I got him fired. And fighting to take back a Senate seat from a popular incumbent Republican. So I think this is all going to come down to winnability. And there are a lot of folks who say, oh, I don't know, that this race being winnable, and I don't know if she can win. And here's how I look at it. People doubt winnability right up until we get in the race, we persist, and then we win. And that's how I'm going to be the first woman president.
Will you raise taxes on the middle class to pay for it, yes or no?
So I have made clear what my principles are here, and that is costs will go up for the wealthy and for big corporations, and for hardworking middle-class families, costs will go down.
A yes or no question that didn't get a yes or no answer. Look, this is why people here in the Midwest are so frustrated with Washington.
At least Bernie's being honest here and saying how he's going to pay for this and that taxes are going to go up. And I'm sorry, Elizabeth, but you have not said that. And I think we owe it to the American people to tell them where we're going to send the invoice.
The problem we've got right now is the overall cost of health care. And look, you can try to spin this any way you want. I've spent my entire life on working on how America's middle class has been hollowed out and how we fight back.
Senator Klobuchar, do you want to respond?
Yes, I do. And I appreciate Elizabeth's work. But again, the difference between a plan and a pipe dream is something that you can actually get done.
My question is not why do Bernie and I support a wealth tax. It's why does everyone else on this stage think it is more important to protect billionaires than it is to invest in an entire generation?
I want to give a reality check here to Elizabeth, because no one on this stage wants to protect billionaires. Not even the billionaire wants to protect billionaires. The president actually sent out a tweet. He made fun of me for talking about climate change in the middle of a blizzard, and he called me Snow Woman. So I wrote back, hey, Donald Trump, the science is on my side, and I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. So I wrote back, hey, Donald Trump, the science is on my side, and I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. So I wrote back, Donald Trump, the science is on my side, and I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. Sometimes, if you haven't noticed, you use a little humor. Like when he called me Snow Woman at my announcement in the middle of that thing, I wrote back on Twitter, I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. So I wrote back, hey, Donald Trump. So I wrote back, hey, Donald Trump. So I wrote back. I tweeted back. The science is on my side. And I'd like to see how your hair would fare. And I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. How your hair fares in a blizzard. I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. Mr. Umbrella Man. And he called me Snow Woman. So I wrote back, I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard.
By having better hands guided by better values on those pulleys and levers of American government. So can I look to you to spread that sense of hope to those that you know? Come on.
Come on. Come on.
Come on.
We should challenge students in these schools to have advanced placement programs in these schools. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Wealthy kids, black kids, Asian kids. No, I really mean it, but think how we think about it. We think, no, we're going to dumb it down. They can do anything anybody else can do given a shot. Anybody who could go down 300 to 3,000 feet in the mine, sure and hell can learn how to program as well. Give me a break. Anybody who can throw coal into a furnace can learn how to program, for God's sake.
Vice President Biden asked about his son Hunter's business dealings in Ukraine.
My son did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong.
Joe Biden is a rabid dog. He should be beaten to death with a stick. Should be beaten to death with a stick. Should be beaten to death with a stick.
Mr. Yang, if you win the 2020 election, what would you say in your first call with Russian President Vladimir Putin?
It's a fun moment. Well, first I'd say, I'm sorry I beat your guy. I know what you're thinking, America. How am I still on this stage with them? It's both an honor and disappointment to be the lone candidate of color on the stage tonight. I miss Kamala, I miss Cory, though I think Cory will be back. Fewer than 5% of Americans donate to political campaigns. You know what you need to donate to political campaigns? Disposable income.
I'm the guy from the beginning who argued that it was a big, big mistake to surge forces to Afghanistan, period. We should not have done it. And I argued against it constantly.
I think winning matters. I think a track record of getting things done matters. And I also think showing our party that we can actually bring people with us, have a wider tent, have a bigger coalition, and yes, longer coattails, that matters.
If you want to talk about the capacity to win, try putting together a coalition to bring you back to office with 80% of the vote as a gay dude in Mike Pence's Indiana.
Senator Sanders, I do want to put the same question to you, Senator Sanders. What message do you think?
Answer that question, but I wanted to get back to the issue of climate change for a moment, because I do believe this is the existential issue.
Senator, with all respect, this question is about race. Can you answer the question as it was asked?
I certainly can. Because people of color, in fact, are going to be the people suffering most if we do not deal with climate change.
I'm the only person on this stage who's built a large, multi-billion-dollar international business. I know how to grow prosperity. I can take on Mr. Trump on the economy and beat him. I'm the only one on this stage who said climate is my #1 priority.
Judy.
We are coming to the end of our time. A lot of hands up. We apologize for that. But in the spirit of the season, I'd like to ask each one of you, is there someone else among these candidates that you have two options. One, a candidate from whom you would ask forgiveness for something maybe that was said tonight or another time, or a candidate to whom you would like to give a gift. And I'm going to start with you, Mr. Yang.
Wow.
We could do a labor action and just all go on strike on this one, Andrew.
I don't think I have much to ask forgiveness for. You all can correct me on this. In terms of a gift, Elizabeth has done me the honor of starting to read my book. Yes. I would love to give each of you a copy of my book. It's about how we're going through the greatest economic transformation in our country's history, the fourth industrial revolution. It is grinding up our communities, and DC is out to lunch on this. Our media organizations are not covering it adequately. I wrote a book on it, and if you like data, this book is for you. This goes for the people at home too, if you like data and books.
Mayor Buttigieg ask forgiveness or give a gift?
First of all, I love data and books, so I think we should all be excited about this. And come to think of it, I should probably send my book around more too. Look,
your publisher will thank you.
Senator Warren.
I will ask for forgiveness. I know that sometimes I get really worked up. And sometimes I get a little hot. I don't really mean to. What happens is when you do 100,000 selfies with people, you hear enough stories about people who are really down to their last moments.
Vice President Biden.
I think everyone up here on the stage and those who are not on the stage who've run, we owe them because they're all pushing for the same exact thing. You're not the only one that does selfies, Senator. I've done thousands of them. And the crew that follows me can tell you, there's not one line I go through that I don't have at least a half a dozen people come up and hug me and say, can you help me? I just lost my daughter 10 days ago. Can you help me? Tell me I'm going to be okay. Can you help me? I just lost, and they go and lay out their problems. My wife and I have a call list of somewhere between 20 and 100 people that we call at least every week or every month to tell them I'm here. I give them my private phone number. They keep in touch with me. The little kid who says, I can't talk. What do I do? I have scores of these young women and men who I keep in contact with. And the reason I would give everyone here a gift is because they want to do something like I do of making their lives better, because there's a lot of people who are hurting very, very, very badly.
Senators. Senator Sanders, forgiveness or a gift?
Well, I can give out any one of 4 books that I wrote.
Medicare for All is comprehensive. It covers all health care needs for senior citizens. It will finally include dental care, hearing aids, and eyeglasses.
But you don't know
Second of all.
You don't know that,
Second
Bernie.
of all.
We'll come to you in a second,
I do know, and
Congressman.
I wrote the damn bill.
30-second response, then Senator Klobuchar after that.
30-second
Yeah, 30 seconds response.
30-second response. Who can win Florida, Pennsylvania, Minnesota? Who can do that? Because you got to be able to win those.
I got to agree with Bernie Sanders. And I got to, Senate, I do. And I don't think there's any question but that the only way that we're going to beat him actually is the way that Bernie Sanders said. If we win, we can get the right thing, Bernie. I am with you.
Look.
I'm a fresh face up here for a presidential debate, and I figure, Pete, that 59, my age, is the new 38 up here.
Not if you like it, but is he going to be able to get the support that he needs from Republicans?
Okay. I I like Bernie just fine. Klobuchar-Sanders amendment to bring in less.
Sanders Klobuchar.
No. It was not. It was not.
I must confess, I don't get too many newspaper editorial support. Must confess
you
that.
got the Conway endorsement.
I did. We're very proud of that.
There we go. He blames Barack Obama for everything that goes wrong. He blames his Federal Reserve chair that he appointed himself. He blames the King of Denmark. Who does that? He blames the Prime Minister of Canada for, he claims, cutting him out of the Canadian version of Home Alone 2. Who does that? Bernie and I had an amendment on this. We got 14 Republican votes on it. It was at midnight. They might have not known what they were voting for, but we got that.
We've turned the corner so many times, we're going in circles.
On carbon,
Thank you, Senator
then we have to
Klobuchar.
make
I
sure
wanna
the
let
money
Senator
goes back to
Sanders
the
into this
people that
conversation.
will be hurt by it.
Thank you, Senator.
And I would also note practically that the Affordable Care Act right now is 10 points more popular than the President of the United States.
I would not meet with the, quote, Supreme Leader who said, Joe Biden is a rabid dog. He should be beaten to death with a stick. I count that.
Other than that, you like him.
Other than that, I like him, and he got a love letter from Trump right after that.
Senator Klobuchar.
Look, Mayor Pete has 3 years as an analyst at McKinsey.
You demoted me. I was actually an associate, but that's okay.
Senator Sanders, you can respond.
Well, just to set the record straight, I defeated an incumbent Republican running for Congress.
When?
1990. That's how I won, beat a Republican congressman. Number two, of course, I don't think there's any debate up here.
Wasn't that 30 years ago?
I beat an incumbent Republican congressman.
And I said I was the only one who's beaten an incumbent Republican in 30 years.
Well, 30 years ago was 1990, as a matter of fact.
I think you called me a liar on national TV.
What?
I think you called me a liar on national TV.
Let's not do it right now. You want to have that discussion, we'll have that discussion. You called me, you told me. All right, let's not do it now.
I don't want to get in the middle of it. I just want to say hi, Bernie.
Yeah, good.
Last night, you were me. You were the rest of us. You were a viewer watching the debate stage, which had to be kind of weird. When were your moments, when the rest of us at our moments, when we're screaming at the TV, pointing our fingers, what were your moments?
You know, I think for me, I'm the math guy. So, when they were talking about was it 30 years ago, I was like, well, if you got elected in November, it was 29 years and 2 months ago. So that was one time I was actually like, someone should actually, do a little bit of math there.
Wow. Math. Wow. Wow. Math. It actually adds up.